Breaking news out of Pittsburgh. Coach Mike Tomlin just wrapped up his first official Tomlin Tuesday press conference of the season, and what he revealed has Steelers Nation buzzing. From surprising injury updates to hints from Cam Heyward about possibly sitting out Week 1, and even some eye-opening details on the team's very first depth chart of the regular season. This is the kind of news every Steelers fan needs to hear, and you're going to want to stay locked in. But before we dive deeper into these latest updates, do me a quick favor. If you love getting the fastest Steelers news, make sure to subscribe to the channel, drop a like, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a single update. Now, let's jump straight into today's headlines. First up, let's talk about the injuries. Nick Herbig and a few others have been dealing with some issues, and we've now got the latest reports on where they stand heading into Week 1. The big question, though, surrounds Cam Heyward. On his own podcast earlier today, the veteran defensive leader hinted at the possibility of not suiting up in the opener. That's right, he hasn't ruled out sitting out Week 1, and that's something every Steelers fan will want to keep an eye on. On top of that, the Steelers officially released their Week 1 depth chart, and while it's labeled unofficial, it definitely raised some eyebrows. There are a couple of surprising choices in there that could tell us a lot about how this team plans to start the season. And speaking of roster decisions, let's address the situation with wide receiver Gabe Davis. After making not one, but two visits to Pittsburgh in free agency, Davis ultimately decided to return to Buffalo and reunite with Josh Allen. Reports suggest the Steelers passed on him largely because of lingering medical concerns, especially with his knee. Instead, Mike Tomlin made it clear today that he feels confident rolling into the season with DK Metcalf, Roman Wilson, and Calvin Austin III as the main trio at wide receiver. After that second visit to Pittsburgh, it became pretty clear what the issue was. If the Steelers brought Gabe Davis back in to recheck his knee and still decided not to sign him, that strongly suggests the medical staff wasn't convinced. Two failed physicals would explain why Pittsburgh passed, even if Buffalo believes he's healthy enough to contribute again. Now, here's the bigger picture. The Steelers still want a reliable option behind DK Metcalf, someone with size, speed, and the ability to stretch the field vertically. Davis could have been that guy, and so could Marquez Valdes-Scantling, another name the team has monitored closely. If San Francisco parts ways with MVS, don't be surprised if the Steelers move quickly to bring him to Pittsburgh. But here's the truth. Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan seemed comfortable rolling into the season with Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin III as the secondary options. Roman was a high draft pick for a reason. The Steelers believe his speed and route running can open up their offense, and they don't want him sitting on the bench early in his career. As for Calvin Austin, he proved last year that he's more than just a gadget player. He made difficult catches in clutch situations, showed toughness across the middle, and proved he can attack all three levels of the defense. Together, Wilson and Austin give Pittsburgh a youthful, explosive mix behind Metcalf. The question now is whether that young duo can consistently deliver against top NFL defenses, or whether the front office will need to make another move before the season really gets rolling. With Week 1 finally here, the Steelers are heading into the opener with some important injury concerns to monitor. Coach Tomlin provided key updates during his press conference, and a couple of names really stand out. First, rookie edge rusher Nick Herbig remains questionable with a hamstring issue. He's been battling it ever since the second week of the preseason, when he was forced to leave early after the opening drive. That's not the type of injury you want lingering for a young pass rusher, and his status will be watched closely all week. Meanwhile, defensive back Derek Harmon won't be available at all for the opener. He suffered a knee injury in the preseason finale, and the team has already ruled him out. The expectation is that he could return somewhere between weeks 2 and 4, depending on how quickly that knee heals. If Herbig can't go, expect to see Jack Sawyer step into a larger role. He's not as polished as a pass rusher yet, but his ability to set the edge and defend the run gives the defense a steady option on early downs. The Steelers' coaching staff believes he can contribute right away in that capacity. The bottom line is this: Pittsburgh's depth on defense will be tested earlier than expected, and how well those next men up perform could play a big role in how Week 1 unfolds. When it comes to rookie Jack Sawyer, expectations should be kept realistic. He's not going to give you splash plays in the pass rush just yet, but where he does bring value is as a steady run defender. That allows the coaching staff to spell TJ Watt or Alex Highsmith during stretches of the game without losing too much on early downs. It's the same type of rotational role we've seen this defense use in the past to keep their stars fresh for critical passing situations. The bigger question lies in how the Steelers replace Derek Harmon, who was listed as a starter before his injury. Coach Tomlin made it clear this will be a committee approach. Expect to see names like Daniel Archibong, Isaiah Loudermilk, and rookie Yaya Black rotating in. Of that group, Black is one to watch closely. He had a strong preseason, showed flashes of disruption, and now he's wearing number 94 as he prepares for real game action. Week 1 against the Jets could be his chance to prove he belongs in the regular rotation. And then there's the uncertainty surrounding Cam Heyward. While he's been spotted practicing in pads recently, the situation is far from clear. The veteran has been seeking a pay raise all offseason, and insiders like Adam Schefter have noted that no agreement has been reached. That opens the door to the possibility Heyward could hold out, even as the Steelers prepare for Sunday's opener. Heyward's own words added to the speculation. On his podcast earlier today, he was asked point-blank whether he'll be playing Week 1. His answer, "We'll see." That's not exactly the reassurance Steelers fans were hoping for. With Harmon already sidelined, Pittsburgh's defensive line depth is being tested early, and facing a Jets team that plans to lean heavily on the ground game, Heyward's absence would be felt in a big way. The impact of Cam Heyward on this defense cannot be overstated. When he's on the field, the Steelers' run defense looks completely different compared to when he's not. Losing him, especially against a run-heavy opponent, would be a massive blow. Coach Tomlin, though, downplayed any concerns at his press conference. He was clear and direct, saying he fully expects Heyward to play and that there are no reservations about his readiness. According to Tomlin, the veteran is healthy, focused, and eager to get back on the field. Still, the contract situation lingers in the background. Heyward has been vocal about wanting a raise, and based on his production last season, where he returned to all-pro form, it's not hard to see why. The Steelers do have the cap flexibility to make something happen, and it wouldn't be surprising if a resolution comes soon. After all, this is a franchise that values its leaders and understands the importance of keeping its captain happy heading into the year. That said, any adjustment to his deal would likely involve restructuring future bonuses to free up space now, which means the conversation could resurface again down the road. In other words, if you're tired of hearing about Cam Heyward's contract, brace yourself. This story isn't going away anytime soon. On another note, Pittsburgh also released its unofficial Week 1 depth chart, and while most of it lined up with expectations, there were some details worth pointing out. One of the more interesting notes, the kick return duties appear to belong to Caleb Johnson and Kenneth Gainwell. It's a small detail, but one that could play a role in special teams strategy as the season kicks off. The Steelers' depth chart has now put some clarity on how the backfield rotation will look to start the year. Jaylen Warren is set to handle the feature role, carrying the bulk of the workload. When he needs a breather, expect Kenneth Gainwell to step in on passing downs and third-down situations, while Caleb Johnson will likely see his chances on early downs as a change-of-pace option. For now, Johnson enters the year as RB3, but as the season progresses, his opportunities could increase if he proves he can handle them. On the receiving side, one of the most notable updates is Calvin Austin III being officially listed as the team's WR2. Inside the building, coaches have been saying for months that Austin has earned that role. He showed flashes last year as one of the team's most dynamic playmakers, even though the snap counts didn't always reflect it. Part of the reason was Van Jefferson, whose size and blocking ability made him a better fit in heavy formations, especially on early downs. While Austin's speed and explosiveness are his calling cards, his lack of size made it tough to keep him on the field in certain run-heavy packages. That often left him watching while Jefferson racked up more snaps despite offering less as a receiver. So now the big question is this. With Austin officially slotted in as WR2, will he finally see the second most snaps among the receivers? Or will his usage once again dip because of scheme and formation demands? It's a storyline worth watching closely as the Steelers try to balance explosiveness with physicality on offense. When you shift focus to Roman Wilson, it's easy to see why coaches are high on him. He has the size and strength to hold his own as a run blocker, something Calvin Austin III has always struggled with due to his smaller frame. That makes Wilson a natural fit for the Van Jefferson-type role in this offense. A wide receiver who can do the dirty work in condensed formations while still offering explosive ability as a pass catcher. Now, is Calvin Austin still one of the team's most dangerous receivers? Absolutely. His speed and playmaking ability make him a constant threat. But when it comes to snap counts, don't be surprised if Wilson edges him out simply because of his versatility and blocking. It's a fascinating storyline, talent versus fit. and it will shape how this offense operates as the season progresses. Another interesting note from the depth chart: Connor Heyward is no longer listed strictly as a tight end. Instead, the Steelers are treating him as a true hybrid. He'll function as a fullback, a situational tight end, and even as a movable chess piece in certain packages. The team already trusts its primary trio of tight ends: Jonnu Smith, Pat Freiermuth, and Darnell Washington, all of whom are listed as starters, which shows just how heavily Pittsburgh plans to lean on them. For Heyward, though, this is a pivotal year. His blocking will need to take a big step forward if he's going to handle a full-time role in the backfield, and his hands must be more reliable if he wants to become a consistent receiving threat. Still, the coaching staff, and even veterans like Aaron Rodgers, have praised his work ethic and attention to detail. That kind of respect usually means opportunities are coming. So, as the Steelers get ready for Week 1, the picture is becoming clearer. The offense is young, versatile, and loaded with potential, but it also comes with questions. Will Roman Wilson outsnap Calvin Austin? Can Connor Heyward carve out a defined role in this offense? And most importantly, will all of these pieces come together quickly enough to make an impact right out of the gate? One thing's for certain: the answers are coming soon, and Steelers Nation will be watching every snap.